you to just let me present Keisha at this time.
Amen. Thank you, thank you. I'd like to first thank you, Miss Kamisha, for all that you have done in my life. It's so funny how I met her through my therapist. And my therapist basically said that I needed to write a book. And I was so against writing a book. I didn't want anybody to know I was bipolar. Not at all. So why would I write a book and talk about being bipolar? So I met Kamisha, and she didn't realize what she was pouring into my life, because I didn't, like she said, I didn't tell her what the book was going to be about. I just knew she had written a book, and I needed some mentoring on what it would take to write a book. And she gave me the advice, and the book is here. This is my baby. I gave birth to this book. And anyone that knows about having a baby, how you go through the process for 9 months, but when you put that baby in your hand, it's a whole nother feeling. It's a whole nother feeling, y'all. And my testimony is one that I hope will encourage people not to be afraid of the stigma. Because the stigma hurts. People think you're crazy. People think that you're demonic sometimes when you're going through what you're going through. But it's not. It's just a chemical imbalance. And a lot of people suffer from it, and a lot of people don't know what they're suffering from. Does anyone in here know anyone with bipolar that they know for a fact has this disorder? Okay. Yes. Bipolar affects approximately 5.7 million American adults and about 2.6% of the U.S. population. At age 18 and older, every year, that's how much bipolar has affected people in this world. In America. The median age of offset, for bipolar disorder is 25 years old. I discovered I was diagnosed with bipolar at the age of 23. So I went through all my life not knowing that I had this disorder. I just thought that I was different. But what made the difference was when the disorder really kicked in, and I had my first episode. My first episode I thought I was in the rapture. I thought that the end of the world was here. And I called my mom, I called my dad. I wanted everyone to come to the house because I knew God was coming. And what brought on this was the abusive relationship I was in. The abusive relationship I was in, I had actually went out and purchased a vehicle for this young man. And he, in turn, I found out was not the one that I should have been with. God was revealing things to me all the time, but I stayed in the relationship because I had low self-esteem. And it's so amazing that having low self-esteem will make you do things that you normally wouldn't do. So I hid it from my parents for 7 years, 7 whole years. They didn't know that I was being abused. They knew that I was doing things other than, my dad knew. My dad knew that I was doing things that I shouldn't be doing. But my mom, me and her are very close, and I hid it from her. I hid all this from her because I didn't want her to be disappointed. And then my dad was already disappointed, so I don't know how I went through that, but it just happened in that way. Just like to say, God will change everything in a blink of an eye. In one blink of an eye. And like Lady Kamisha was stating, medicine, if you have to take it, take your meds. Because I did not take my meds several years. And I was smoking weed, I was drinking, I was partying, I was living a lifestyle that was not glorifying God, but it was also hindering my process of being disorder with bipolar disorder. And it was bringing on more and more trauma to my life through trying to seek out attention and trying to be popular and trying to be someone that a mask was on. Because the mask actually was on me to be a people pleaser. I like people, I'm a social butterfly, and I try to help everyone. But everyone cannot be helped because they can take advantage of you. And when that happened to me with this vehicle, I'll go back to the rapture, he had taken advantage of my love to purchase him his vehicle. And basically, when I found out that he was cheating, it just took all of me. And God revealed that he was coming back to me at this time. Now, I was presented with the very first time as being characterized as having a nervous breakdown. A nervous breakdown is something that Kanye West, they said, had, but he may have bipolar. It might not have just been a nervous breakdown that shut him down. Right. And who knows, because he's not coming out, and a lot of people don't want to come out, but there are a lot of famous people that have bipolar. Carrie Fisher is an actress that has bipolar. Chris Brown, he has bipolar, but he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't talk about it to let you know that you can get over it. And through God, you can get stronger and stronger and not have to deal with it anymore. So, what am I supposed to do with this disorder, God, that you've given me? That is a chemical imbalance that I have. Am I supposed to be afraid, or am I supposed to be finally fearless? And my finally fearless moment happened after seeking help with Lady Kamisha. And it's just a blessing that her workshop is called, well, her conference, is called Finally Fearless. Because I became finally fearless to write this book. And the name of my book is called Chest Notes. And God gave me this acronym when I was going through one of my episodes. CHESS stands for Christ Has Enlightening Success Strategies. Chess, the game that we play, the game that people master, and the game that people learn how to live through life. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of people calling life a game. You just got to play the cards sometimes. You got to deal with what you're handed sometimes and just live that way. Now, you don't have to be afraid if you are diagnosed with bipolar, because God will take you through it the same way that he brought you in it. Every episode that I had, I went to the hospital and I would be singing to the Lord, asking him, I need just a little more Jesus. I mean, that song is by Erica Campbell, and it came to me and I needed a little more Jesus. But in the essence of it all, I was still rapping on, well, I didn't go into my rap career, I'm sorry. But I wanted to be a rapper. And I wanted to be a model, and I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be on top of the world. And having bipolar says that those are grandioso thoughts. But let me tell you, my God has grandioso thoughts. He gives us that. And with those grandioso thoughts, it's going to be, what are you going to do with them? How are you going to take those grandioso thoughts and make it happen? Because God says that we're not supposed to be fearful. And he gives us the spirit of not being fearful and having a sound mind. And how do I have my sound mind now is that I'm on my medication. Now, will I have to take this medication for the rest of my life? I don't know, and I don't care anymore. I used to care. I used to not want to take it because it made me gain weight. It made me have so many things where I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't fathom being on medicine for the rest of my life. But I know now that if that's what it takes, that's what it takes, because I'm going to be a survivor. And it's not going to be, and I'm going to be a bipolar warrior. I'm going to encourage other people that have bipolar to understand that you're not alone. And when you're not alone, you feel that breakthrough through Jesus. Because God is always with you, so you're never alone with him. And I had to turn to him to find this out. I had to really seek ye first the kingdom. And when you seek ye first the kingdom, you realize that all the things that you've gone through are part of your purpose. And I didn't realize it at the time that I was going through these things. I just realized it was something that it was a curse on me, or I don't know. It was just something that I just couldn't deal with. But I know now that I can deal with everything, because through Christ, he gives me strength. And the strength to speak it out, and the strength to know that I am not just a disorder, and I am not just a problem. I am a child of God. And the people at the hospitals do not know how to really handle people with bipolar disorders. They are there, but they poke medicine and pump you up, And that's what it does to me. And I had manic attacks. Mania is something that when you have extreme highs and you're back on that grandioso level and you're thinking that I never thought I could fly through like I was Superman or anything like that. I just wanted a jet. So why would I not be able to get a jet when God says I can have everything I want? Why can't I have my Rolls Royce when God says I can have everything I want? And people talk about preachers that live that lifestyle. It's people that shouldn't be living that lifestyle that still have it, but God gives it to the preachers because that's what the preachers needed at the time. And that's what God blessed them and anointed them with, because they know that the abundance is something that they are supposed to have. And you're praying for it. And one thing about prayer, I changed my prayers. Instead of asking God for things, I started to say, my Lord, just work with me. Help me to understand where I need to go. So with saying that, instead of asking for God's hand, I wanted to see his face. Seeing his face is something that you see and you come through it, and he will give you everything that you say that you are desiring. Everything. And I don't have it yet, but it's on my vision board. Now that's something that you have to have. You have to have vision. And when you have vision, God provides the provision for you to accomplish that vision. And my book, it talks about, I don't want to give it away. So I want you to be able to read it and go through it and understand this chess game that you must play in life. And even if you don't have bipolar, you still got to play this chess game. Come on. Because Christ has enlightened success strategies. Say it with me. Christ has enlightened success strategies.
Christ has enlightening success strategies.
Yes, he does. And these strategies are to get you from point A to point B. You have pawns, you have bishops, you have rooks, you have a queen. That is the mightiest, powerful piece on the chessboard. This is something that I am, God's queen. And my job is to protect the king. Come on. Now, while I'm protecting the king, I got to make sure that I protect the kingdom. And I have the keys to the kingdom because that's what it said. And with me having these keys, I know that I'm going to be able to unlock it because I'm a kingdom kid. And being kingdom-minded gets you to that level. So that's why you have to seek first the kingdom. If you don't seek it first, you'll never get to that level.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Whew. It's been a trial and error. I was diagnosed at 23 and I'm 37 years old now. So imagine the times that I've been hospitalized over and over and over, and the doctor couldn't get it right. The doctor could not get the medicine right. What was working for other people was not working for me. If I take Benadryl, I'm up. Most people take Benadryl, they go to sleep. That's not how my chemical imbalance works. And a lot of the medicines that they give you that's supposed to put you to sleep wire me. I was up for 2 weeks. 2 weeks in a hospital. They had to transfer me to, I wasn't eating. I was just screaming, I need a little bit more Jesus. I was rapping. I was jumping. I couldn't understand what was going on with my life. I couldn't understand why. And I was in a relationship again that had let me down. And this relationship was something that I was trying to build and let them, I've always, like I said, been a people pleaser, trying to help him to get to the next level. And he was working with the devil, not me. And when you're working with the devil, all hell breaks out. That's all I got to say.
Come on.
So, what is it going to take for others to realize that bipolar is not something that they have to hide? What is it going to take to realize that manic depressive, schizophrenia, that, and you know what's so funny that God revealed to me one day? In Psalms, David goes high and low. That sounds like somebody with bipolar. In Revelations, John sees things
that no one else sees. That sounds like schizophrenia. Now, if they went through these things and it's in the Bible, which is the basic instructions before leaving earth, who's to say that you're not going to go through some of those things or know somebody that goes through some of those things? So you need to help them out and get them to the next level and get away from the devil and let you know that it's not something that you should be ashamed of because you are free and I am free. A little bit more history about bipolar. More than 2/3 of the people with bipolar disorder have at least one close relative with a unipolar major depression, indicating that the disease has a heritable component. So somebody in somebody's family may have it, and they don't know what to do with it. They want to shut them away. And it's so crazy. They wanted to commit me twice. But through God, I was never committed. There was a snowstorm that prevented me from going to a committed place. I was in the hospital, couldn't sleep, couldn't figure out left from right, was just blabbing out things, saying things that are just unimaginable sometimes. But I got through that. And I know that my God is an on-time God. And it's not my timing, it's his timing. Now, when am I going to get my jet? I don't know, but I'm going to have it. And everything that's on my vision board is coming to pass. Now, let me tell you about the keys to success. Some keys that you need to know. Anybody listen to DJ Khaled, or are we just listening to gospel all day? DJ Khaled has a song that says, I got the keys, keys, keys. I have those keys to the kingdom. So I have the keys, keys, keys too. And some things that I've already told you, one of the first keys to success, and the way that I've written this may not be in order, but they all came to my heart. You need to meditate. Meditate, get somewhere, be quiet and be still, and let God talk to you. You need to journal. Journaling gets the things that are on your mind out and put into the atmosphere of what you want, what you need, how God needs to be used. And I have a journal that I go through within my book and let you know how I was struggling and how I was having these ups and downs. And I had a Bible that I would wake up and I would put the time that I woke up because God was waking me up. And sleep is your best friend, but sometimes sleep is not your best friend because you become lazy. You have reverse effects on things. But sleep is your best friend, and not sleeping for 2 weeks was not my best friend at all. You need a gratitude list. Gratitude, be thankful. Write down what you're thankful for. Let it be known to God that you are thankful. When you write it down on paper is when it's concrete. Just saying you're thankful is a blessing and you know you're thankful, but when you write it down, you are putting it out into the atmosphere that, hey, I am thankful. Become born again. You have to become born again. You need to get baptized. I was baptized at the age of 27. And this was when I was going through one of my episodes. I had came out of the episode and went to the church, and the sermon was on the light. And I remember saying that I am God's light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine. And I know that I am the light. And we all are the light. God is in that, so he made us in his image, and we have that light and that power. You got to have persistence. Be persistent in what you want to do. I have so many times started projects and stopped them. Didn't know, that's the ADD kicking in. I know some people may not know people with bipolar, but you may know someone with ADD or ADHD. All of these diseases are associated with one another. You may know someone with PTSD. The people that take medicine for PTSD take the same medicine that people with bipolar take. That's right. So this is something that is everywhere. It's not just a thought process that God has let you down. This is something that people have to go through. Like Kamisha was saying, the process. Take them through that process. And I've gone through so many processes. Now, another strong thing is forgive. You must forgive yourself and anyone else that has wronged you. Because forgiveness is not for that person. It is for you. And when you forgive yourself, and that's what someone told me, you have to forgive yourself. And once you do that, a weight just lifts off your shoulders. Because you let it go. You've given it to God, and He forgives us every time. And all you have to do is take it to Him. I think you were saying that you don't have to get saved a bunch of times. You just have to basically know that you can take it to God and repent for what you have done. You want to ask for discernment. That way you hear that right voice. That you're not listening to your voice. You're listening to God's voice. That's the voice you want to hear. You need to follow the 10 Commandments. That's something that's a key to success. Because if you're going to go to jail for killing somebody, you're not going to be successful at all. It's just not going to happen. How can you be successful behind bars? You got to be a cheerful giver. Giving is something that I have done on a regular basis now. In the beginning, I didn't understand the right to tithe. I didn't understand why you need to give 10% to God. Because, bills need to be paid first. No, you give your 10% first. And those bills will work out. You will get that money.
Say it again.
Be Spirit-led. Let the Spirit use you. Let that be something that you know that you know. Be obedient. You must be obedient. Being obedient just means when something is that undiscerning feeling that you feel, that gut, that God is telling you something, don't second guess it. He's telling you for a reason. When the guys were cheating on me, God had me looking in their phones. They had all these things I was doing and finding what was going on, but it was a spirit of discernment that was telling me that I needed to get out, and I was just too foolish at the time, and I didn't know what to do. But so many people go through that. I don't want to go through no one's phone anymore in life. If he's doing something, it's going to be revealed. What's done in the dark will come to the light every time. You do not have to search for something. As a matter of fact, one of them even told me, if you look for it, you're going to find it. If it ain't nothing to look for, I ain't going to find nothing. How you going to tell me if I'm looking for something, I'm going to find it? Don't understand that. Build a legacy. You want to leave something for the generations behind. You do not just want to be alive and just living. You want to have something that your children have as a foundation. Dale Bronner, I don't know how many of you are familiar, but I went to his church at Word of Faith in Atlanta, and he has a legacy of a church home that is huge. It has a lot of people, but it's spirit-led in that house. I go to Life Changes Church, and at my church, it's a little smaller at the time. We'll get to that level, but I am being fed at this church, and that's where you need to go, where you're being fed. I was at a church for a while that I was getting fed at, and I had to leave it because I ended up not getting, the feeding ended, and it was time for me to move on. Wait on God. Waiting on God is something that's so hard to do because you want to take the road. You want the wheel. You want to be able to just do it all. But you have God that's going to put these things in place for you. I've been quiet for the last 3 years of my life. And the reason why I've been quiet is because I'm waiting on this breakthrough to come through that I know is coming through. Yes. And I'm waiting on him to manifest these things in my life. When God tells you to do something, he's always very specific. God told me that chess stood for something. And he gave that to me. And it was very specifically how it was done. And I was just I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't, like again, I said, I didn't want to write a book. I didn't want to come out and say I was bipolar. But God wanted it to be known. And the chest notes that I have is the notes that he wanted to be specifically done for me. That was my purpose. I'm walking in my purpose now. I was not always walking in my purpose. And whatever road that God will continue to lead me on, I'm there for it. Whew, Jesus. One thing you want to do is be an overcomer. Being an overcomer lets people know that you have been through, whether it be an abusive relationship, low self-esteem, whether it be pregnant out of wedlock, whether it be anything of that nature. Be an overcomer. Single moms, I'm so happy for you because you are overcoming things that no one else can do. You are there for your child and you're an overcomer. Have faith. Woo. They say it's a mustard seed, right? That's all you need. It's that faith. Now, one thing that my pastor said that I would like to leave with you is, God, you got to have information, application to make manifestation. Let me say that one more time. You got to have information, application to make manifestation. And when you make those manifestations, those things will come. When they're going to come, you will not know. It's in God's time and not yours. But they will come, and everything will come to pass. It's been an honor to be here, to share my story and my testimony with you guys. I hope that you found something different about the way you thought of people with bipolar. They're not just crazy. They are blessed, and they have a chemical imbalance. And a lot of people have it. And that's all I have. Thank you.